For the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Earlier today, this evening at 6 o'clock, we had a budget meeting. The 2020 budget was introduced. I believe I can say this, that we are going to advertise the budget with a 3% raise. However, the council feels a 2% raise would be better. We've been informed that if we advertise at the higher rate, we can always drop it. But if we advertise at a lower rate, we cannot raise it. So out of prudence, we went with the maximum for the advertisement. But when it comes down to the salary ordinance, which is going to be next month? In December, and that's when the final decision will be made on that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So we got that out of the way. We've established a quorum. We've done our pledge. Approval of the minutes. We didn't have a meeting last week, so we don't have minutes for that, but there would have been minutes for
September the 3rd.
September 3rd.
Make a motion to approve the September 3rd minutes of the meeting.
Second.
A motion to approve and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Minutes have been approved. On to the public meeting. Starting off with ordinance number 25, construction standards, standard requirements for water mains, town planner, and water department. This is going to be the town planner meeting tonight. Lisa's going to be up here quite a bit.
Okay, the first item, ordinance 25, is amendment to the subdivision control ordinance regarding the water design standards. The Plan Commission heard this at their September 9th meeting and are forwarding a favorable recommendation to the council. If you have any technical questions, you can ask Jimmy. I'm sorry, Jim.
No, I'll wait till I ask questions. Okay, any questions for Jim? There's quite a bit of information in there, very technical stuff. Thank you for the diagrams. It's always nice to have pictures. But the question I have for you is, do you feel good about this?
Oh, yes. Typically, our old construction standards were probably from 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And basically what we're doing, we're getting them up to today's standards, new stuff, new materials. We're incorporating the zinc-coated pipe, which hopefully will be in the ground another 100 years. Longevity is what we're looking for, just better construction of ductile iron fittings and basically our meter pits. We've got something we could put on our website. When any developer comes in, they can go right to it. It's all there. And instead of just asking questions, we have every answer for hopefully what they want, try to see. And we get some consistency in the town as far as construction standards, whether we're here or not. That way, if somebody came in from outside to run the water company and they wanted to change things, well, we have our standards. It's already there. Be consistent as long as we can possibly be consistent until down the road when something else changes. But this is the first time we've had an amendment for a long time for that. And for instance, typically thrust blocking back in some of the construction days was concrete thrust blocking. Well, not with the fittings that we have. Just a lot better. Because usually if we had a corner that was falling in, they want concrete behind it. But you don't want 10 yards of concrete for a fitting. That's why we changed a lot of these standards. And we're talking with Kent and everything, and they've looked everything over and gone through Banning, and everything looks pretty good. I feel real confident for that.
Good deal. This is a first reading, so if we want to pass this, we would have to suspend the rules tonight. Getting a no?
We're just introducing it.
Okay, great. This is introduced. Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the order of the Danville Plan Commission for Economic Development. This went to the Plan Commission on the 9th of September as well, and they did approve the order of the Plan Commission, so now it is before you.
Okay, this is Danville Town Council Resolution Number 17, 2019, a resolution of the Danville Town Council approving an order of the Danville Plan Commission.
Ben Comer is here if you have any questions regarding the economic development.
Well, Ben? The records show that I also sit on the redevelopment commission. I think they've done some outstanding work in identifying some areas, help the town out. Ben, do you want to make any comments?
I'll just give a brief overview of the plan that we're asking you to approve, and note that it will come back to you. This is the first of a few meetings. After the meeting tonight, notice will go out. The plan is simply this. After a year and a half, the RDC putting this together, we are doing two things with this resolution. Number one, we're establishing an economic, which is a swath that runs through the middle of town, Main Street and East Main Street. And what that means is that's our work area. Any money we collect, or that's our project area, we can where within the map area. Okay? The second thing that this resolution does is it creates 4 TIF areas, and that will generate the money that comes to the RDC for us to spend within the economic development area. Essentially, what happens with the recoupment of the money is there's an existing tax set right today. Whatever this is, this amount of tax will continue to go where it always goes, through the town to the different taxing units. What the RDC gets a piece of is this, the improvement between what's there today and what comes in the future. We get a little piece of what comes in the future, comes into the RDC coffers and allows us to spend that within the economic development. 4 TIF districts would be the Justice Senior Living community out by Vectren, the TSC facility that's construction now, the north, the lot immediately north of TSC, it's a vacant, and the old Danner's lot, vacant lot here in town. So new development on those 4 parcels of land that create additional revenue, some of that will come to us in order for us to spend within the economic development. That nutshell.
Any questions for Ben? Okay, thank you. Okay, so that was the order of the Danville Plan Commission for Economic Development. Now we have the declaratory resolution, number 17, 2019.
That's just basically accepting order stating that the act is approval by the action of the Plan Council. Accepting.
Accepting what the Plan Commission has said.
Yes.
All right, any discussion about resolution number 17? All right, what is the pleasure of the council?
I make a motion that the declaratory resolution of 17, 2019 be passed.
I have a motion to accept resolution number 17. Do I have a second? Second. Further discussion? Hard work. All those in favor of passing resolution number 17, 2019, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, on to proclamation for the National Constitution Week. I'll go ahead and run with this. Had we had a council meeting last week, we would have introduced this particular proclamation. We've done it every year. I will read it to the audience. National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, Wapikiwe Chapter, Proclamation Constitution Week. Whereas September 17, 2019 marks the 232nd anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate the occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, catching the tail end, kids. Now therefore, we, by virtue of the authority vested in us as town council members of the town of Danville in the state of Indiana, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through 23rd as Constitution Week, and urge all citizens to study the Constitution and to reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities that privileges involve. In witness thereof, we have hereunto set our hand and caused the seal of the town of Danville, Indiana, to be affixed the 16th day of September. We're going to have to scratch that, make it the 23rd, the year of our Lord 2019. Signed, council members. Again, we would have probably passed this. I know I would have passed this last week. We simply didn't have a quorum to do so. So we'd like to recognize that this past week has been Constitution Week. And I have it on good authority that the government teacher hounded his students all last week about the Constitution.
You know him?
I've heard of him. Shadowy fellow. All right. Is there anybody here from the Daughters of American Revolution? We have a signed copy for that.
I will take care of that tomorrow, sir.
Thank you very much. Ordinance 31, 2019.
Okay,
Hang on.
ordinance 31, 2019.
Before you start,
Yes.
this ordinance deals with my family, and I am recusing myself from all action. Go ahead.
Okay. This is for introduction only. It is called the Clark Annexation, and it's located at 340, I think, West Broadway.
640.
Or 640, East Broadway.
Any questions? Everybody understand? What's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Interim President, this will be just for an introduction reading tonight. You'll vote on it
Either introduce it or
October
suspend the
7th.
rules.
Yes, sir.
So the recommendation is to introduce it.
If we could, sir. Yes, sir. Prepared to receive it tonight.
How do you guys feel?
Good.
So we're going to introduce it.
Thank you, sir.
The Resolution 19, 2019, the bad debt write-off, we'll cover next week. There was a little problem with resolution numbers.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And before we move on, because we didn't get a chance to talk to any of the department heads last week, are there any department heads that have any information that they'd like to address at this time? Step up to the plate. Your name and what do you do?
Jim Russell, Animal Water. Hey, the report on the water tower, if anybody's seen, it looks pretty nice out there. It is in service, put it in service last week. Just got a few things to do, a couple of climbing cables, and that's about it. We do have the tank recirculation device in it. And then progress on the out of 200, should get the last tie-in finished by the end of the week, and hopefully have it in service here in the next week and a half. Got to do some pressure tests and back T samples, and other than that, that's all I have.
Questions for Jim?
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other department head? Public comment? Anything from the public tonight? Okay, hearing none. Around the horde. Mark?
Report tonight, sir.
Jenny?
Nothing, thank you.
I'm good.
I'd like to apologize for not being here last week. I had to go to Iowa, talk to John Deere about a machine to kill weeds so we don't have so much herbicides in the fields. And I think we're doing pretty good. I also will talk to them about moving a facility here to build this machine. But I'll have to wait for answers on that. So even though I wasn't here, I was still thinking about the town. A lot of corn in Iowa. Other than that, the water tower looks beautiful. even with the sign of the hospital on it. It's very nice.
All right, anything else? Anything else?
No, nothing.
Okay, good. Chris?
I apologize for not being here last week as well. I was out of town for work, so not as exciting as meeting with John Deere, but
But did you see corn?
yeah,
All right,
and a big lake.
we got that, all right, we got that going.
In the future, when you see robots running in the cornfields, think of me.
There we go.
There'll be no farmers in the cornfields in the future.
I have two things real quick, and then we'll wrap this up tonight. Number one, Public Works and the rest of the town, thank you very much for the concert this past weekend. I know that's a lot of work. If you've never seen the guys setting up, the tremendous amount of equipment it takes to put the tables out, and then all that stuff has to come back. And I know because they drive right past my house, and usually if it's late at night or early in the morning, depending on your perspective, they make sure that the horn works, and it does.
Being safe.
Secondly, it is homecoming week, so you can expect the usual homecoming parade and stuff like that going on. So just come out. It looks like the weather's going to be fine for the homecoming, and it looks really good. That's all I have. Claim docket? Anyone?
Move to approve.
The motion to approve the claim docket. Do I have a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Kind of nice to pay the bills. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? Claim docket is approved. Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We've got a motion. The second. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. All right. Some of you people in the back standing up a little early.